Hi, I'm Alex from Ratings.com. Today, we'll be doing a review of the Samsung The Frame 2021. We'll be evaluating it on our standardized test bench to see how it performs and if you should buy it. We bought and tested the 55-inch model, and we expect the other sizes to perform similarly. This TV is the successor to the Samsung The Frame 2020. The Frame 2021 is very similar to last year's model, but the TV itself is much thinner. It looks great when mounted on the wall with its no-gap wall mount to fit cleanly on the wall. When combined with the art mode, which allows it to show off different artwork and cycle through some of your favorites, and the additional contours that can sit cleanly around the TV, you can really make it look like a picture frame on the wall, hence the name. The stand has been redesigned to allow for a height adjustment to be able to fit a soundbar underneath the TV. The inputs are located on the One Connect box, which allows for a single cable to be plugged into the rear of the TV for better cable management. On the One Connect box itself, there are 4 HDMI ports, with the third port supporting eARC and the fourth being an HDMI 2.1. There are also 2 USB-A ports, a digital optical audio out, a tuner, and an Ethernet port. The back of the TV fits the VESA mount standard, and the TV comes with a no-gap wall mount to make it really thin against the wall and have it look like an art frame. The build quality of the TV is great. It's well built overall and doesn't have any issues with wobble or flex. That said, on our unit, we had to push with a fair bit of force against the back in order to align the port with the plug in the cable from the One Connect box. Also, the borders seem to scratch easily and feel loose on ours. We expect that this might be an issue with ours only, but let us know if yours has similar issues. Now, onto the test results, and we'll start with the contrast. A high contrast ratio results in deep, dark scenes, which is good if you want to watch movies in a dark room like a home theater environment. This TV has outstanding contrast with a VA-type panel, so dark scenes appear deep and detailed. Unfortunately, on this TV, there is no local dimming feature to further improve the contrast. If you wanted a TV in a bright room, then a high peak brightness is important to overcome glare and bring some pop to the image. The Frame 2021 has an impressive brightness in SDR. In HDR, it gets decently bright, but less so than its predecessor. This means it may not be able to bring out some highlights and give you a true cinematic HDR experience. If you don't care too much about a brighter image, then this should be fine. Also important for a bright room is good reflection handling. You can see that this TV handles reflections alright, but the intensity isn't significantly reduced, so it isn't the best choice for a room with a lot of light, or you'll end up struggling to see dark scenes. If you've got a wide seating arrangement or like to watch TV with family and friends, then good viewing angles help to ensure no one's left out with washed out colors or crushed details. Unfortunately, on this TV, the image quality drops dramatically when viewed off center, so the image is really only best from directly in front. This is primarily due to the VA panel and is one of the trade-offs associated with this type of panel. Unfortunately, this does mean the art mode will also have reduced quality off center. An overall uniform screen brightness and color is important when watching sports or playing video games to avoid the appearance of clouding known as the dirty screen effect. This does vary between units, but we expect the Frame 2021 we bought to be about typical. It's good overall, but the corners are noticeably darker. In really dark scenes, the black uniformity is excellent, so there aren't really any distracting bright areas, which is nice. It's important to have a TV that can display a wide range of colors. In the case of the Frame 2021, the TV can display deep saturated greens, reds, and blues. It is a bit limited by its HDR peak brightness, but the overall experience should be good for those who like an image with extra saturation or for watching high dynamic range content on streaming services. Some TVs struggle to display smooth gradients, so when watching a movie with a sunset, some banding can be visible. In the case of this TV though, it's alright, and you may notice some color banding in the image. There is the noise reduction feature, but unfortunately, it doesn't remove the banding and may cause a loss of fine details in some scenes. When playing video games, a fast response time is important for the clearest image without distracting blur. The Frame 2021 has a great and fast response time overall, but some blur or smearing may be noticeable in dark scenes. If you look closely at this moving photo taken on the TV, you'll also notice some duplication of the logo. This is because the TV flickers, but since the flicker frequency is so high, it doesn't look very distracting. A low input lag is also important for a responsive feel when playing video games, and thankfully, this TV is great in this regard. While the Frame 2021 has an exceptionally low input lag, many modern TVs also have very low input lag, to the point that if you care about input lag, you're likely never making a wrong decision for gaming. Speaking of gaming, this TV supports all of the common signals up to 120Hz, which will pair well with the Xbox Series X or PS5, since both support high refresh rates. This will help to get the most smooth and responsive experience you can get. It also supports FreeSync variable refresh rate, which is good for a tear-free gaming experience. Keep in mind that there's only one HDMI 2.1 port, so you can only have one of these devices plugged in at a time if you want the full bandwidth available from the system. Like other Samsung TVs, this one uses the Tizen platform. It's relatively easy to use and has all the most popular and useful apps, so you don't need to cast them from your phone. It also has an art mode which displays artwork and photos when the TV isn't in use, which goes together well with the no-gap wall mount. The remote is small and features a solar panel on the back or a USB-C port for charging. The sound of this TV is decent and about typical of many TVs. Having said that, TVs are getting thinner and thinner. Good sound doesn't tend to be much of a focus, so if this is something you care about, then an external soundbar or speakers is the way to go. So, this brings us to the main question. Should you buy this TV? Well, if you really care about having clean, easy cable management, then it's hard to beat the look of the Frame 2021. It's clearly being sold on its looks more than performance, so if you're really interested in having a TV that can blend in on the wall and look like an art frame with customizable frames, then this is a good buy. While it's a good TV overall, you can shell out around the same amount for the Samsung QN90A. The QN90A is a brighter, better TV overall that has 4 HDMI 2.1 ports and a local dimming feature to make the contrast even better, as well as an ambient mode that works similarly to the art mode of the Frame 2021. There's also the LG G1, which is a fair bit pricier, but has similar design elements to the Frame 2021. It does have a much better image quality and 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, so you're not just paying for the looks on this one.